I just wanted to talk to you guys about how bridles fit on horses, because I see it really negatively affecting a person's communication with their horse very frequently. And my way of doing it's not the only way. It's the way that works for me. And if you don't have any guidelines, you can have mine. Um, so first, we're going to talk about the snaffle bit and how a horse holds the snaffle on their own, and how a snaffle should hang on a horse's head. Um, which if I pull that snaffle down just straight away from the top of their head, I should be able to put a little bit of space uh, between the corner of their mouth and the bar of the bit. And those horses will pick that snaffle up and hold it in the corner of their mouth. Like if I pull this snaffle down by her tongue and her teeth, watch, she'll just put it up in the corners of her mouth, right up there, even though she has to pick up all that ring. So I kind of want to be about half a notch below wherever that choice for that horse to hold that snaffle or not. Some guys they say they want 2 wrinkles and they want that horse smiling, and if they have a plan for that, that's great, that's fine, they can do that. For me, I leave it down like that because it creates a little bit more feel. That ring of that snaffle, I like a lighter ring in the snaffle. That ring of that snaffle can have some communication if it can have some movement, and when that's high in their mouth, it won't have as much movement. It's a pretty tight spot to begin with. So when I start my colts, they learn to hold that snaffle, and I don't teach them to flex off the reins until they've figured out how to hold that bridle in the corners of their mouth, and it prevents a lot of gaping of their mouth later. So I think that's kind of my general rule of thumb. I don't keep my throat latch too tight. It just needs to be tight enough to keep the head stall from coming off over their ears. Some people will have that throat latch right up tight in the horse's throat latch, and it will change their breathing when they've actually got to interact with the bit and bridle up and contract their spine. So that's kind of how a snaffle needs to hang on a horse's mouth for me, and I also want to talk about how a bridle is going to hang on a horse's mouth, and the chin strap and all that interaction and that communication. So I've had people ask me, well, I saw a video that Les Vogt made about how to, if you, for instance, if you hang your bit a little bit lower, I haven't seen the video, but if you hang your bit a little bit lower, it can help lower your horse's head accordingly. And if you have a philosophy, you have a plan. I mean, Les Vogt knows more about bridles and bits than probably all of us ever will. And if you have a philosophy and it's working, do it. If you don't have a philosophy or it's not working, these are some rules of thumb for you. And I'm not trying to say this is the only way to do it. I'm just saying this is a good way to do it that works for me, and it seems to work consistently for horses. Now, it doesn't mean that the other way is wrong. Develop your own theories. It's an art, not a science. Okay, so I really want to talk about how a shanked bit hangs on a horse's head, because when this one's improperly fit, it's really difficult for the horse to operate or to communicate with your horse. So one thing I didn't mention with this snaffle, but I think it's a really good idea to have your bridle slightly on the too loose side when you bridle your horse. I think Ray Hunt compared it to putting a shoe on that's already been laced up and tied. So be respectful of your horse and their feel by having that bridle on the loose side. If it's only bridle you wear on your horse, that's fine. You probably don't have to loosen it if they are good to bridle. But so rather than having to hold the shanked bit, referring to this shank on this bit, I want that bit to stay solid and in place, and I don't want to be able to pull it down out of the corners of their mouth. So if I'm pulling straight against the top of their head right here, I should not be able to pull that mouthpiece out of the corners of their mouth. And that's because of the stride of the horse will put a wavelength down that bit, and if it flops around in there, if that horse isn't extremely confident and that rider doesn't have a very thorough amount of feel, then it just flops around in their mouth and it becomes something that's in their way. So secondly, I want to talk about the chin strap. The chin strap has as much to do with the communication with the port, or with the horse, as the port in the bit. And everybody talks about what port does that bridle have on it, but the chin strap is so vital. And if your chin strap is really, really loose, when you pull on those reins and that chin strap doesn't apply until you've got this much pull in your reins, you've just got a lever in there that's going to open your horse's mouth. It doesn't have the feel. The bridle works on both the inside of the bars of the mouth and the jaw right down here. And for me, that needs to be snug. Not necessarily snug, but close. Maybe if a hat fits snug to stay on your head, but a boot fits close on your foot, more like a boot fits close and less like a hat fits snug. So when I pull those reins, that chin strap starts to engage right away, not after this shank is already 90 degrees to the horse's mouth and their jaw and the bars of their mouth. So just be aware of how tight or loose that chin strap is, and then be aware of how much chin strap you have on that horse. This is a NRCHA legal chin strap on a brand new Kim Parkey bit that we're so proud of. It's a very fun bit, and that's a big, wide, flat piece of leather that's very soft. It doesn't have a lot of pressure on the horse. And these chin straps are real soft chains, but that material is going to be more meaningful to that horse sooner. So that's a little bit more pressure. Or this chin strap that has a piece of rope in it, and it has a little bit of flex to it, like a chain, but it's definitely more pressure sooner, which, that's why we show in this style of chin strap, so you can show what you've really got there and not cover it up. But these are great training tools. I'm not saying that everybody should ride in a leather chin strap. I just think that you should check in on it and then have it fit properly when it's on the horse. Sometimes you go to some lower level horse shows and you'll see people riding their horse around with the bit hanging in its mouth like that, and the chin strap loose like this. And I mean, you can hear it as that mare shakes the gnats off of her head. How difficult it is for that bridle to communicate with that horse. It's just a big floppy in the way piece of equipment. It's not accurate, and accuracy is important in horsemanship. So I wanted to talk about it. If you don't have your own rule of thumb, get your chin strap relevant to your horse's jawbone. Get your bridle up in the corners of the mouth if it's a shank bit, and think about how that communication happens with the horse. As if I'm gonna be the horse's tongue and the roof of the horse's mouth, and think about how that pulls on that horse, and whether you're prying that horse's mouth open or you're communicating with him, and then how far you need to pull before that chin strap pulls on the back of your hand. This is a really good little exercise to do, to hang that bit on your hand as if your hand's the horse's tongue, and just see what it feels like when you pull on yourself, and think about how much space is there. In this instance, I've kind of got a mess of leather going on in my hands here, but in this instance it's very loose. But pull on your own hand with that feel, and see how much meaning it has, and be accurate. Put equipment on your horse that's accurate, and then ride accurately yourself.